It's your boy WEEZYFMAMBA. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys once again so much for being here. We really appreciate it. On today's video, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to be going over the best builds and strategies that you can use to clear Nightmare 4 in the new PvE mode in Marvel Rivals, Marvel Zombies. Yes, this mode's been out for a couple of weeks. I've gone back and forth on whether I wanted to cover something on Marvel Rivals and Marvel Zombies on my dedicated horror channel. I decided that since this is zombies, it's still considered horror, and we're going to cover it. A lot of people are struggling clearing the Marvel Zombies Nightmare 4 mode, as well as doing it obviously with a team, but also solo to get the rewards, the titles, and the units that come along with completing it solo. No more talking. Let's get over to the live scene. Let's showcase the builds and strategies that I did to complete all of them on solo. Hopping over. And so this is the obvious Marvel Zombies mode. We're going to go ahead and turn the capture card back on for you guys. Now, I am on console, but this will apply to anybody that's on PC as well, considering the builds are the same. What you're going to want to do as far as this goes is I will walk through all of them. We'll go ahead and start with Punisher, finish off with Jeff. We'll just go down the line and showcase. First, before we get started on that, I will show you guys my title cards. Once again, Queen Slayer complete, as well as Wrath of Asgard, King Landshark, Lunar Vengeance, Queen of Limbo, and Endless Arsenal are the title cards that you can get for completing it. Your single solo completion, or your single completion period, you will unlock the legendary Queenslayer. Your solo completion with Thor will unlock you Wrath of Asgard. Solo completion of Jeff the Landshark obviously will get you King Landshark. Lunar Vengeance solo clear will provide you with the one for solo clear of Blade. Queen of Limbo solo clear of Magic, and Endless Arsenal solo clear with Punisher. Okay, and then as far as the leaderboards go, I did place twice, just to show you guys here on console. I went with Punisher. I placed 200, but since I've stopped running with Punisher, I have fallen to 309th, so I'm still in the top 500. Finished in 36 minutes and 23 seconds. By the way, with one death as Punisher, one death, which is crazy. And then I also finished on Blade, top 500, but I fell out already. And I did finish top 65 with Thor, but have fallen to 88 at the time of the recording of this video. So this was my best placement for sure. 88th with Thor, okay? So let's get to the builds. Enough talking. Sorry, I like to over-explain a lot of things. So here we go. All right, as far as the Punisher, this one clearly was my favorite one to run at this point, simply because I only had one death, which was just bonkers. I got blown up by a red guy, and let's get to it. First things first, your traits. This is pretty simple. I'm actually going to swap cameras here. We'll go down here just so you guys can see. The traits are all red. Do not touch anything on the blue side. We're not using the shotgun one time in this mode, so at all. Traits just go 10, 10, 10, 10. Obviously, this will be much easier if you guys are already max level 40. And then as far as the abilities go, you definitely want to make sure that you use the Relentless Pursuit turret. None of the other ones. Don't use the original Coaling or Shielded. As far as the ultimate, it does not matter. You will never touch the ultimate with Punisher. It is way too fucking risky, and it sucks in this mode. And then as far as the grapple, believe it or not, this is vital. Use Phantom Rush. You can have 3 zip lines out on the map at a time, and Phantom Rush will gain you a speed boost and collision immunity after using the zip line. And that speed boost is so clutch. And since you can have 3 of them out on the map at once and none of them disappear, you have those perfectly set up where you need to be. That is going to be your best case scenario if you need to zip out and go to the other side of the arena. Okay. As far as the blessings go, okay, we're going to go ahead and swap down to Punisher. There is a nice, awesome strategy that I'm going to try to explain here quickly, but then I'll showcase you probably at the end of the video on how to go about a run start, and how you will have your best ability and best option to clear Nightmare 4 solo. Okay, so first things first, what you're going to want to do is make sure that when you spawn in and you hold your button to start buying blessings, you're going to want to make sure you re-roll until you find Punisher's upgrade level 10, right? It's the gold version, gold Punisher's upgrade, which allows you to get the his machine gun single bullet damage plus 90%. You then are going to re-roll on the random rolls. Now, there is certain times where the random rolls will give you garbage, but also there's certain times where the random rolls will duplicate the cards that you have. And since you only have this card bot at the moment, it will times this by 3, times this by 4, times this by 5. It does have RNG obviously tied to it, but I'll go ahead and showcase how that works at the end of the video. This is going to be your most vital purchase here with Punisher. You are going to go ahead and listen up for the rest of the blessings. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what to buy and what never to buy, okay? As far as the Punisher goes and this, you're going to completely avoid every single blue purchase. You do not need any of this. All of this does is affect the shotgun, okay? As far as the reds, you're definitely going to want to do every Punisher's upgrade that you see, which is bullet damage. You're going to want to buy at least 2 or 3 of the rifle magazine, the extended rifle magazine, simply because your reload speed is going to be so busted with rapid reload that you don't need a high, insanely stupid magazine because your reload will be so fast. Okay? So don't worry about getting magazine capacity outside of a couple of them. And you want to do that maybe if it presents itself early, but also more in the middle and later rounds. The single bullet damage, once again, headshot multiplier is an absolute must. Precision, judgment, and Punisher's upgrade, you will buy unlimited amounts. Overwhelming assault, you will also buy unlimited amounts. This is what makes your screen look like a bunch of fireworks going off. At some point, you will unlock that particular feature where your sustained, overwhelming fire just turns into an array of fireworks on your screen. You are going to completely avoid deadly lock-on. Now, I know a lot of people say that this is OP, but I promise you, you don't need it, and it eliminates your spread to where you're only able to shoot one target at a time instead of multiple, with it being spread like crazy. You don't need deadly lock-on, just completely avoid it. As far as the legendaries, again, everything that you see here, you're just going to want to buy intervals of. Punisher's upgrade, purple. Headshot, precision damage, purple. Rapid reload, buy 1 time. If you see it, buy it once. That is all you need. Smart magazine, 1 time. That is it. Do not repeat these. It will not make a difference because the 200% reload speed is already enough, and 75% is very good odds. You're not going to run out of ammo. I promise you. And if you do, you have ridiculous fast speed reload. Okay? Those are the Punisher's red blessings that you're going to buy. As far as the general blessings, which is, again, this is for basically all characters, but we'll talk. Damage dealt, power surge for sure. 2.5, 8, and 16. You're definitely going to want to get anything moonlight protection related, which will reduce damage received. Okay. And then as far as the vampiric vitality and full moon, these are 2. You're going to want to avoid primordial frost, Zeus's thunder. Don't even worry about buying these. Never buy restorative respire. These are all worthless right here. Okay. We'll talk about vitality boost here in just a second. As far as vampiric vitality, you only need 4 of them. Don't buy anything after 4. Okay. 5 is the same as 4. 6 is the same as 4. It's all worthless after 4. Okay. Full moon, you only will see 3 of them pop up, period. As far as once you've bought the 3rd one, no more will pop up. Absolutely buy all 3 of these. It is a must to bank your moon power points to purchase blessings throughout the rounds. And like I said, again, full moon is just 3 of them. Buy them all. Now, as far as vitality boost, maximum health, again, health with vampiric vitality is not as important in the beginning rounds as well as the middle rounds, but going into round 10 plus is when I started buying maximum health, because I wanted to make sure that I had enough health to survive double Wanda's CC, of course, Namor's broken fucking spears, simple. You want to make sure that when you get to round 15 and above, that you have minimum anywhere between 7 and 11,000 health. I prefer sitting right at about 9K health. Excuse me, because that now I know I have the ability to survive a couple of CC blasts as well as a Namor spear. Okay, so simple as that. Just make sure that you buy all the healths and damage dealths that you can get. That is Punisher. Ladies and gentlemen, pretty simple stuff. Let's go ahead and move on to Magic. Now, Magic was clearly the hardest one for me. There are multiple builds for Magic, but I'm going to go ahead and showcase to you guys the one that I think is the most broken, as well as the one that helped me clear with Magic. Again, we are not going to be using any blues. It's an all red build. We will also continue to not use our ultimate. So we will be running Mortal Will. Okay, your ultimate ability cannot be used, but you do gain permanent boosts to health and damage. As far as your slash, you're just going to use Dark Dash, charging forward, grabbing all collided enemies, and carrying them to endpoint before launching them upward. Again, you're not going to use this too often, so it doesn't really matter. And then as far as stepping discs, jump through a stepping disc, teleporting a short distance in the direction of movement, become invincible when teleporting. This is where I will always say go with the original. It gives me a quick immunity, few seconds where I do not take any damage when I teleport, and so I can survive and or re-trigger vampiric vitality. Okay, as far as her blessings, again, let's go ahead and go over general. You're going to do the same thing we talked about with Punisher. You're just going to buy 4 vampirics, 3 full moons, none of these other Primordial Frosts or Zeus's Thunders. You're going to get all the damage dealths and damage reductions that you can get early, and then middle to late stages is when you start beefing up your health. Again, you want to make sure that you're sitting at about 9,000. With Magic, I actually got up to 11,000 because she seems to be a little bit more squishy than the other ones and has less attack range than the other ones as well. Okay. Now, as far as the Magic blessings, her specific ones are going to be on red. You're going to want to make sure that you get, let me go ahead and do this. Bang, bang. Innate slash, absolutely. Once again, get innate slash, re-roll with randoms. Make sure you get duplicates at the beginning. Do not buy anything else until you get innate slash and go from there. Attack speed, obviously. Damage, obviously. And then Soul Surge is super strong. Don't worry about Mark Detonation. Do not buy Mark Detonation, okay? And then as far as Devouring Sigil, I do buy a couple of these because I throw my sword all the time. So that's great. Again, Arcane Sword Dance, absolute must. You get the plus 15% attack speed. Arcane Armor, don't worry about buying. And then Soul Domain you will want to get, which is attack range. Buy all of these that you can. avoid arcane armor, avoid mark detonation, avoid mark detonation. There you go. Devouring sigil, excuse me, again, is a must buy for a couple of them. Get about 4 or 5 of these simply because it helps beef up that sword throw, makes it slash a little bit faster. Okay, that is what I'm talking about. As far as magic, that is her best way to clear Nightmare 4 solo. Okay, now quickly moving on to Thor. This was my best run as far as placement time. 33 minutes got me in the top 65. This is a little bit different than everybody else. This is strictly an all blue build. A blue build, ladies and gentlemen. Do not purchase any red blessings while using this Thor build. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that you are doing Mjolnir Bash, the original. Wield Mjolnir to strike enemies. When awakened, Thor can launch lightning arc waves to deal damage. Do not use any of the other ones. As far as the bubble, this is rarely used. Concussion Cell, again, is going to be the best ability here, simply because it will stun the enemies that are closest to you. And then as far as the ultimate, you're going to be using this pretty rarely just to get out of sticky situations, but you're not going to be using this very often. We'll just use Thunderclap Slurge simply because it does launch range, large range shockwave, launch up enemies within range, and smiting the ground. Gain damage reduction and increase lifesteal during the effect. So it does help a little bit with some survivability, but other than that, you're not going to want to deal with it. Okay, as far as the blessings go, again, as far as general blessings, all the maximum healths and damages that you can get, all the moonlight protections, avoid all these bullshits here, grab 4 vampirics, 3 full moons, and make sure to gain maximum health and sit around 9,000 to 11,000 health with Thor while you are on phase 15 and above. So make sure that you do spend wisely your moon power. Okay, as far as his general blessings or his actual blessings, you're going to want to make sure it's just blue. The most important thing to do is get Endstorm, but you want to make sure you get Endstorm after you've done the cheese strategy with re-rolling random perks after you get Cranium Crusher. Okay, Cranium Crusher, all right, is an absolute must. So when you get Cranium Crusher, by the way, it only shows up in purple. It does not show up in gold. Once you get Cranium Crusher, random roll, get duplicates, then you're good to go to buy the rest. You're going to get a few Awakening Rune durations. I would wait till they're the yellow ones or the gold ones. That way it beefs it up by 130. As you can see, the massive jump from 55 to 130. You only need about a minute or 2, I would say. Sometimes you can get it up to 3 minutes, but that's pointless because the rounds are going to end in like 45 seconds. So get it up to about a minute. So I would say 70 to 80 seconds, minute 20, and then you will stop buying Awakening Rune durations. Make sure you absolutely get Endstorm. This is a must. Endstorm is during Awakening Rune, holding the right mouse button and or right bumper on Xbox, or I believe it's R1 on PlayStation. You will project rapidly at the cost of Awakened duration. More on that in a minute. Again, Mjolnir Bash, All Father's Might, absolute must by every one of them that you see. Thunder Havoc, every one that you see. Rune Recycle is a really good one. Get 1 or 2 of these. That's it. You don't need more, okay? And then Enchanted Flurry, simply because it is attack speed. All right, that's all you need with Thor's blue build. Simple. Okay, promise y'all. Moving on to Blade. As you guys know, this is the easiest person to do this challenge with. If you are having struggles with Nightmare 4 clears, just make sure to run Blade's red build. It's pretty simple. You're never going to use your ult. You're only going to use the, in fact, you're never going to use any of these abilities, truly, ever. but these are the best ones. The grapple being green, daywalking, fire a hook to pull blade toward the target location or enemy, just in case you need to get the fuck out of there. You can fire your blade or your shotgun and get away from there. Okay. As far as this, again, we're never going to use this, but if Blade is wielding his gun, once equipped, he hits the enemy with Daywalker Dash. He will unleash an Ankh that follows the enemy. When the enemy is defeated, Blade retrieves the Ankh. So this is clearly the best one if you do Daywalker Dash. And then the ultimate ability, again, we're just using Lunar Wrath, but you're never going to use it, so don't worry about it. Khonshu's Blessings, pretty simple again. General Blessings, get damage, get Moonlight Protection, avoid all of the frosts and thunders, get 4 vampiric vitalities, get 3 full moons, and of course, get all the damage dealt that you can get every time. And then in the middle to later stages, get your health to about 9,000 with Blade, and you will survive everything. Okay. I would again roughly just say 9K is your sweet spot. As far as Blades, red build, once again, you're going to want to cheese the beginning of the match. You re-roll until you get On the Hunt, Ancestral Sword damage plus 140, random roll, get duplicates, rinse and repeat. Start buying anything in relation to sword damage, attack speed, attack range. All 3 of these, On the Hunt, Swift Edge, and Sweeping Edge, are absolute musts with Blade. Avoid Crimson Will, you don't need it, and avoid Edge Extension as well as Fatal Route. You don't need anything that says the word 1000-fold on it. That is your ultimate ability, and you're never going to use it. So do not buy any Fatal Routes, Edge Extensions, or Crimson Wills. Just buy On the Hunt's Swift Edge, Sweeping Edge, and then Blade Dance. Blade Dance, you want to stack these as much as you can because they melt bosses. Do not use Blade Dance unless you absolutely have to get out of a sticky situation during the middle rounds. But on the boss rounds, especially Wanda's bubble rounds, you're going to want to make sure that you're Blade Dancing on them hoes, because I promise you, it melts faster. There is a few blues that you end up buying that I found the most successful, and I'm going to show you those now, and it's just actually a couple here. As we all know, the best build here is going to have Sacrifice Sigil. Okay, and want to make sure that you get a couple of these. I would say 3 or 4. And then as far as the other blues, Lunar Blade, okay? Lunar Blade, Ancestral Sword, or Daywalker Dash hits, chance to generate Moon Blades, which again, circle around your character and do damage. It's busted. And then, of course, right here, you're going to want to make sure to get a couple of Fatal Flashes, because on the boss units, when you spin at 600% damage, it melts them so fast. I did double Wanda in less than 30 seconds on one of the runs. And then Moonblade damage at 25%, but only get these if they're the legendaries, okay, the golds. Don't spend 5 on getting Daywalker damage at 260 when you can double it up with 10. Okay, those are the blues that I buy. That's it. So again, avoid all blues except for Sacrifice Sigil, Fatal Flash, Moonblade Wrath, and Lunar Blade. Again, these are not priority. I would make sure that you get all your reds insanely beefed up before you start buying the blues in the middle rounds. Simple. Okay. And last but not least, the most sought after one that everybody's been asking me for my build for is going to be Jeff the Land Shark. This was one of my second clears. This was actually my second solo clear, was Jeff. This was a lot of fun. He's easily one of the best now with the recent buffs. Traits, all red build. You're never going to buy any blues. It's going to be strictly buoyant splash hitting an enemy or the scene with Aqua Burst. Creates a floating water bomb at the impact site. Spring, damaging water on enemies and healing allies over time. As far as the bubbles go, again, this is really just fusion bubble. It's pretty simple. You're never going to use your ultimate ability, so don't even worry about it. Okay? As far as Jeff's blessings, again, purples. I'm going to say this for the 5th time. 4 vampirics, 3 full moons. Do not buy restorative repair, Zeus's thunder, or primordial frost. Completely avoid these 5 cards. You're going to want to get all of the damage dealt and damage receives that you get. And then, of course, when it comes to maximum health, you're going to want to be sitting at about 9,000 with Jeff. So in the middle to late stages, start beefing up your health to make sure you hit that 9,000 threshold. As far as Jeff's cards, blessings, you're going to want to make sure that you cheese the beginning once again with Jetstream Cannon, Joyful Splash damage plus 200%, random roll, get duplicates, rinse and repeat. Then Gnashing Waters, absolute must. Projectile capacity, 2 maximum. That's it. 2 purples. That's all you need. Do not buy any more. Joyful Splash damage, again, don't buy any of the bubble parties. You don't need it. Again, Deep Sea Reserve, you're only buying 2 of the purple ones because you don't need a bigger magazine than that. As far as the rest, Rapid Surge and Jetstream Cannon, you want that fire rate and splash damage as many times as you can. That will give you the best way to do it and to complete Nightmare 4 with every character in the game.